Just as something I'd like to attend to, and that was, okay, 2 dimensions is a circle, 1 dimension is a dot, and I said infinitely small but not non-zero. But infinitely small is 0. It becomes an identity, doesn't it? You could say it's ever becoming, but it's moving towards that identity of 0. So I think I would want to rethink what I mean by one spherical, by sphericality in the single dimension. It's nothing. And interestingly, our symbol for nothing is a 0. A circle. That's interesting coincidence. What am I to make of that? Am I to make something of that? Let's think a minute. I want to introduce here another thought that I've found profound, which mathematicians utterly reject, of course. Listen to me for a moment. I have said this before once in one of my recordings, but 3 divided by 3 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. What do you think 0 divided by 0 is? 1. No, screams the mathematician, it's undefined. Heresy. Yeah, well, I'm defining it. I'm telling you. It's 1. Oh, that's a nonsense. I can't handle. How can I get hold of 0 and divide it into 0? I mean, 0 doesn't exist. But it does theoretically, doesn't it? Let me just, you might think fancifully, but in the imagination take the view that God takes nothing, the absence of all things, and he divides it in 2. You could say male and female, or you could say plus and minus, or whatever, thought or no thought. You see, even nothing is a concept. He divides it by itself. It gets 1. It symbolizes to me the very epitome of creativity that I'm ascribing to my God. And not just me, of course. Trillions of people have thought that he breathed upon the chaos, but I mean, if the chaos exists, he created all things, didn't he? Yes, it's the theologian. Well, not the theologian, but at least the religious. So he created the chaos from nothing. Wow. Now, you might think it's a bit of a slur on his character to say he creates chaos from nothing, but he didn't stop there. He went from glory into glory, which was he then created the magnificence that you see of the universe, and far more than that, because we only see a tiny corner of his creativity. So we assume, in all humility, which you know I'm very strong on. So one dimension has its own spherical nature or circular nature. And I think what we mean by that is its impregnability again, or its safety, its security. It's the circle. try hitting it with a missile, and the missile tends to glance off it, to spring off at a tangent. I was thinking stealth aircraft actually aren't all curves, are they? They're extremely angular. I think they try to be angular. Well, first of all, from the direction in which they're moving. If I'm an attack aircraft, I want to have the greatest possibility of missiles coming towards me that are going to be glanced off and not penetrate. So unless you hit the razor edge of the sharp front of my vehicle, I stand an extremely high chance of your missile glancing off the armour that I've got round me. Or in the case of radar, not simply reflecting the image back to the enemy's receiver, so I don't appear on their screen. The razor edge of the stealth aircraft then on the front. Well, that's all right if the radar was coming from the front of the aircraft, but what if the radar's looking from underneath? What's the shape of the aircraft to them? I think again we try to make it curved so that the radar tends to be reflected off, not reflected back. The last thing we want is a flat surface that's going to reflect the message back to their receivers, and we show up on their screen, their radar screen. Well, I don't know much about radar, as you probably gathered, and I'm only surmising what the technology of stealth aircraft is, but I'm back to my square and round towers at the corners of castle walls and the corners of the keep as well. Make them curved, not square. In fact, have round keeps, not square ones, and so on, because they're safer from missile attack. But the sphere, the circle, has another thing, which is its endlessness, isn't it? You know, how's the cloister arranged inside the monastery? It's an open court, but with archways covered in all round the perimeter, so the monk can continue walking endlessly in a rectangle, but in a sense in a circle, round and round, in deep prayer and meditation, or even in deep conversation with the person he's teaching, or with each other. We teach each other, don't we? That's the reality of it. Thank goodness. Don't like the superiority idea, do you? We're all students. We get together in a seminar and, wow, you'd be amazed what we can produce. Yeah. Actually, numbers is a bit of a problem because you get so many and, it tends to fall apart. We're actually better in one-to-one conversations and then go away and reflect on it and then perhaps have one-to-one conversations with someone else. See how it stands up in a different arena. I don't know. What do you think? Thank you, Dad. Oh, just to add that re-listening to this, that well, in really fast aircraft, it's irrelevant when it's overhead because we can see it visually anyway. Well, as far as we can see something moving that fast, and we haven't got time to hit it. It's too late now. It's when it's coming towards us we need it to be invisible from our point of view if we're facing an enemy. And we're moving at supersonic speed. So we've already fired our missile or projectile or rocket or bomb or whatever before we get there. And turn off before we're overhead. Or when we're overhead, it's too late for them to do anything about it anyway. Our missiles already hit them. Our bomb's just about to land on them. And by the time they get themselves together, we'll have gone, and so will they have done. Yeah. Well, I don't know why I'm going into the technology of war. It doesn't seem very godly, does it? I think I'll back this up. Thank you, Dad. Oh, I must just add, I'm thinking a laser gun hitting a stealth aircraft coming towards it. Although the laser is incredibly powerful, is there a tendency for it to glance off the stealth aircraft rather than penetrate it? Or is light in some sense moving so fast, at the speed of light presumably, or something like it, that it simply penetrates matter? Yeah, you know, it's at a level of particle stream that penetrates material, doesn't hit it, simply goes between the molecules, and perhaps even the atoms. I don't know. But presumably our warmongers do know. Yeah. I really shouldn't be dwelling on this, should I? It's a bit addictive. I must drop it. Thank you, Dad.